So as far as a Revenant guide goes, a lot of people are going to start off by saying, why aren't you using the Revenant Heirloom? I do have both of them. The reason why I choose not to use the Heirloom as of right now, I'm a little annoyed by it. I've used it for, since the beginning of the season. It is just so loud. When I pull out that Heirloom on a rotate or when I'm sneaking up on a team, I tend to have ADHD and I click my keys 1 and 3 back to back. So I'll pull out my gun, pull out my Heirloom, pull out my gun, pull out my Heirloom. And it sounds like I'm summoning Optimus Prime every time. It's just like, and it just makes so much noise where I need to be focusing on like footsteps and the squad that I'm moving up on. I like it sometimes, but I tend to take it off at times as well. To give you a little background, Assassin's Instinct, when somebody gets really low on health, I'm not sure the exact health they have. I think it's like 50 and below. It will then highlight them and you can see them. So when your teammates are saying, oh, he's one shot, you'll know the second that they get low. And if there's a Revenant on your team, it doesn't matter if you shot them or didn't shoot them, the HP bar will go down. So there's times where I've seen people like in the zone healing, and I'll see that Assassin's Instinct pop up. So even you can actually catch somebody in Storm, even if you don't see them, the HP bar will pop up. The Q is insane. The range at which you get, I know Moki Sniper put up a video going into really, really in-depth on how to get the trajectory, things like that. I'm going to do it my own way, where I'm not going to give you numbers. I'm not going to go like super in depth. I'm just going to give you ballpark how to feel it. Shadow Pounce is going to be the key for being aggressive and defensive. His ultimate gives him 75 HP, and anytime you get a kill, it refreshes the ult by 10 seconds and gives you the 75 HP back, even on assists. This ability, you want to pop it and you want to get your ass in there and you want to fight everybody and anybody, and it doesn't matter. You want to get as many knocks as possible so your ultimate stays active longer and you get that 75 HP buff. Let's say you're 20 HP and you knock somebody, teammate knocks somebody, you'll get 75 HP back to where you can get into the next fight and do as much damage as possible. Even if you go down, you still have that ability to do damage, rather than if you had 20 HP, you just die instantly. This character is very, very, very insane. Guns that are best on him is going to be the Hemlock and the R9. Those are the weapon meta that I use the most. Hemlock, Nemesis, 30-30, R9. Those are my guns. Of course, Care Package, L-Star, Prowler, Bowcheck, things like that. But for the most part, those are always my guns. Revenant's movement has a few different things. A lot of times what you do with Revenant, some people will see a hill like this and kind of just Q like this. You see how I like kind of flat, right? Here I am, I landed, boom, and that was that, right? If you see a hill or you know a hill, because the terrain is always the same on every map that you play, if I hold my Q down, instead of holding up or looking straight or whatever, I look down. By looking down, what this does is it puts you at the lowest possible height you can be by looking down. So I'm not going to hit the roof or hit the sign by accident, whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look down, and I'm then going to like pretty much, I know I'm going to go back here because I'm going to jump and like this. So what that does is when I use a hill, I get all my momentum. I'm still holding my momentum. I use my Q or, further back. But instead of getting to the top of the hill and then using my Q, which doesn't allow me to use the speed buff of Revenant's Q. There are so many places, especially on Storm Point. Storm Point has a lot of hills that you go on that allow you to use that like jump technique. So you saw how I got on the hill. I started to like jump, and then slide towards the end. This allowed me to have crazy trajectory, crazy speed. This is part of Revenant's kit that is the most important, that allows you to kind of like get really speedy places. Another thing too is, again, a hill. I want to use this hill, right? So what I'll do is instead of like doing one straight shot going down the bottom, what I'll do is I'll go sideways because I want to use the hill. I want to use the speed of the hill. So I'll look down and then do that jump technique I told you about. I just missed a little bit there, but you get the point. I get a little bit further. I'm not just landing and then stopping. I'm still maintaining speed. I'm still maintaining momentum that allows me to go on to the next thing. A Revenant's ability as well is if you Q, a lot of people will Q, like let's say to this ledge, right? You'll Q, you get to the ledge, and that's it. If there's someone on this ledge and I Q towards them, what you can do is when you Q, you can grab the wall, and with Revenant's passive ability, he can actually climb walls without falling. He can pretty much like infinitely climb. So I go like this, right? You can change, you can go side to side, you can do all that stuff like this. Wall to wall, doesn't matter, right? So what a lot of Revenants, or what I do personally, is when I'm trying to play against somebody and trick somebody, I'll Q and I'll grab the wall from the side and I jump on somebody, right? So if someone's here, I'm a little bit harder to hit rather than landing right in front of their face and then kind of stopping and then pulling out my gun and then dying, right? So it allows you to kind of have this counter is outplay that it is really nice to have. A tip about Revenant as well is sometimes when he's climbing, there are some ledges that have like little lips. When you're climbing up, you can get caught on some of these lips. Okay, so there's some lips in the game. I can't really explain it. I can only show you in game, apparently. But what happens is when you're climbing, if you're finding yourself falling, like you're grabbing a lip of something, a good way to get by that is if you look down. It will help you. It's like, if for some reason the game registers that, where it'll allow you to climb over it. Like it's like a reclimb. Whereas if you're looking up, it won't let you do it. The Q of Revenant is the bread and butter of his kit. With a gold helmet, he's insane. But a lot of times, Revenants, what they'll do is when they're getting away, they're very one-dimensional thinking, where they're like, okay, I gotta go far, right? Depending on how you jump with Revenant, it's either you can, again, look down and get super massive speed. You can look about right here and get that kind of same speed, but to go a little bit higher. And then you look about right here and you kind of float up, right? You still kind of get there's like a sweet spot where you can get really far and maintain your speed. So like this right here is really good. So I'll jump and I'll probably hit that ledge, right? Now that same jump, if you do it too high, it won't even get you close. So if I do it like this, you'll miss. You won't even get close, right? So it really matters kind of like what you're doing with his Q to get you that speed. A lot of times what I do, almost every single time, I'm very speed oriented. I always want to go like massive speed. Very rarely will you see me kind of like Q upward, but when I'm running away from teams, what I'll do is I'll hold my Q and then kind of do the super jump. Like just keep jumping, right? And I'll slide and I'll get out. The reason why I do that is because it makes me really, really difficult to hit. Where I know sometimes a lot of people do Revenant's Q and they'll go high and they're like, oh, like this is just as good. I get just as far like this, right? Like you'll get pretty far, right? But the difference is you become airborne. And when you become airborne, you become easier to hit. So what I do is, as an M&K player, I do have the ability to tap strafe. What I'll do is I'll press Q and I'll keep like low to the ground and just tap strafe and make myself very, very, very difficult to hit. That is the main difference between most Revenant players, is they'll kind of jump in the air and just try to, go as far as they can, where I always choose the speed route because of movement, right? Like I'll really utilize the M&K movement in this scenario. The next thing that Revenant can do, this is specific and only to M&K players, is you can actually tap strafe in his Q. So let me just do it again. So if I'm looking this way, press my Q, I can actually go on top of this building like that. So you can tap strafe while using it. I don't really use it too much in game. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that's so broken, that's so this. You can definitely use it. There's definitely times where, if I'm trying to let me see. I don't know if I can do it from underneath the building like this, but like if I was going like this and just, yeah, it's so hard. I don't know. I don't even know if I can do it. I can try. Yeah, I guess I can. I don't know. I guess if there's a way to do it, Guapi, I think Guapi can do it. So Guapi, for those that don't know, he's one of the best Revenant players in the game. Insane at Revenant. Easily one of the best players, like movement-wise and skill-wise with the character. What I'm trying to do in my video is just kind of give people the, the base of how to play him without going too fancy, giving you a breakdown of his kit, giving you a breakdown of like how I play him personally. So I mean, again, I can tap strafe like sideways and stuff like that. Like I can do some crazy stuff, but a full 180, I have not done anything like that. I don't even know if that's possible. I would have to see his video and stuff like that. So when you're in game and you're playing Revenant, again, a lot of times when you pop your ultimate, it could be too early or it could be too late. So you're gonna have to find that sweet spot. What I mean by too early is you pop it, you don't get into a team fight, and then your ultimate falls off and you get no resets. If you pop it too late, there's times where you take 150 damage and you pop your ultimate ability, but you're popping your ultimate ability more for like survivability rather than fighting. So when you pop your ultimate, you get 75 HP, which might allow you to pop a battery for free. Because if somebody swings on you and does 75 damage to you, you have like half a second left in your battery, you pop your battery, then you turn on them and you one clip them. His ability can be used defensive and offensive. You really, really, really want to use it mostly for offensive. You want to use his ultimate ability to get the resets, to get the knocks. The people who play Revenant are going to get the kills. If you are someone who doesn't get a lot of kills, Revenant, you'll find maybe a little bit of difficulty on him because you want to get those resets, but he is still really broken in terms of the ult. The ult is so strong. I need to I think I have diabetes after this. Swear.